And every time I have you on, I do get the comments of unsubscribe, and I can't believe you support this guy who said this 5 years ago or does this or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always tell people one-on-one, like, I get Grant. Like when I'm around you and we're hanging at the house or hanging out at a restaurant or whatever, I get to connect with you like this, and I really get to see you. Yeah. And I think I told Martha, my girl, when we were going to meet you, I was like, listen, Grant's got a certain edge. I was like, Grant's got a certain, like, watch some of his content, because some people, he rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah. But you were warning her, huh?
But
I come with a warning.
Because she wants to really invest, right? She's like, she wants to invest. She's telling me today, she's like, when are you going to give me the information to invest in Cardone Capital? And I said, yeah, I'll connect you with Ryan. We'll make it happen over.
Yeah.
To change the philosophy and mindset around the fear of money.
Well, I think number one is there's a bigger problem with hoarding in this country than there is with spenders. But what we hear is all the spenders
who are getting into debt.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God, he did this and he's overspending. But really you have more of a hoarding issue than you have a spender issue. It's number one. I think people err more on saving and not knowing how to use money than they do on buying Richards and Lambos, even though you see all that around LA, It's not that they're doing a bad thing or anything. I'm not saying they're the devil. But they're close, okay? Because they're not going to call you up and say, "How you doing, man?" Without saying, "Hey, you got any money to invest?" It's just not, that's not what they do. Their job is to make money. Period. So anyway, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, these are the richest institutions on the planet. They fund everything that happens. The company BlackRock and Vanguard. These are probably going to be worth $20 trillion each in the next handful of years. They say they'll own 99% of all the assets on planet Earth, not just in America.
How are they able to do that?
But the most important thing is that people need to you gotta know that if you live in America and you're having a money problem, it is not because you're stupid, and it's not because you're lazy.
What is it?
It's because you have the wrong information. I believe that Americans, particularly Americans, have the wrong data about money. That they're financially, there's medical misinformation, there is financial misinformation in the marketplace that is perpetuated by the banks and the institutions, because every time you operate under their hypnotism, you benefit them, not your family.
So if someone's got between 1,000 and 10,000 and they're trying to multiply it to 100,000, what would be the steps they would take? How long do you think it would take them to go from 1,000 or 10,000 to multiply it? And would you say put that all in your own personal investment?
It was a cash flow generating machine. When I read that, I'm like, dang, dude, everything he buys is really real estate. You see, so I'm like, okay, I cannot buy a big enough position. I'm not rich enough to get a big position at Coca-Cola. I don't get on the inside. I'm a little guy, right? So I'm never going to get access to Wall Street. Goldman Sachs isn't going to call me and say, hey, we got this deal going, man. It's going to be the next Coca-Cola, right? I'm never going to get that call. So what can I buy that's like Warren? Oh, real estate, man. I can buy the 26 units in San Diego because I know the neighborhood. I grew up there. And I spent some time there. So I know that. So I can buy that. I can go to the bank. I can get a good loan on it. And it cash flows. And that's how I started buying real estate, because Warren, he bought for the long term. He bought great locations, great properties.
Fair price.
And now it would be, okay, I got to spend money on marketing. I wouldn't go look for an investment right now. I'm going to spend money on marketing now. Now I'm going to spend money on marketing to get me more leads. And I would, big mistake I made in my career was not spending more money on marketing.
Because you turned, 50 when you really started investing in?
I was 51 when we started playing the social media game. And I was probably 55 or 56 when we started spending money on marketing.
Wow.
Yeah.
51 when you started doing social media?
Yeah.
And then
I should have been spending money. I should have been spending money when I was 25 years old. When I was selling cars, I should have been spending money on ads. But I was scared, man. So
what made you not scared 25 years later, 26 years later, at 51?
And replace it with assets that in January, if I dump out in December, January, I want a payment from that. It doesn't have to be a big payment. Just needs to be a drip off that asset.
Something, yeah.
So I'm not gonna buy a cup because the cup won't pay me. So in December, I had a bunch of money. Boom. I'm like, make a deal. You were in it, yes, a couple days ago.
Yeah. You bought that house.
Take that cash, that garbage that you have. I already had a surplus of money. So if I can't buy 2 of these, I'm not gonna buy one of them. If I can't write off some portion of it, I'm not gonna buy it. If I can't do it out of passive income, I'm not gonna touch it.
Interesting.
So those are my criteria for making investments, right? When I saw the first interview with Jeff, when he was saying he was studying algorithms, I think he was at one of the big firms, selling stocks
Before Amazon.
Yeah, before Amazon. And then he saw something came across his desk where there was a spike in internet activity, eyeballs going to the internet. That's when he said, "I'm gonna go do Amazon." And he followed traffic. I didn't ever follow traffic. He followed scale. He followed scaling possibilities. And then what did he do? He followed the traffic, the possibility. Then he invested in the possibility. And then he went into debt on the possibility. If I don't like something somebody's doing, I'm like, okay, what do I need to learn here?
That's a good.
So it's got a little bit of a warning to me. You know, slow down, Grant. So when I started putting that in, you know, somebody came to it. Actually, I started putting that in about 12 years ago. And a guy told me about Facebook. He left and the light went off. And I said, hey, what can you learn there?
How well has Facebook done for you in the last 12 years?
Pretty good.
Pretty
good. Same problem I had with Instagram. When Instagram came around, I'm like, I ain't got time for another one of these.
Same problem for TikTok.
So, same, exactly, all of them.
Powerful stuff, man. Yeah. Well, I always appreciate you opening up.
I'm like, okay, not everything's adding up here, but there's something here. And so I've always been like, number one, like if I could accomplish one thing, it's always been the curiosity of the spiritual. Add to that, the financial thing. It's like, I don't understand why somebody would be spiritually connected and not control the material.
And financially bankrupt.
Yeah, exactly. I've never understood that.
Interesting.
You know, I've never understood why somebody wouldn't. The spiritual to me is senior to the material. So if you're spiritually senior, then you would have control of the material.
Interesting.
He thinks the whole thing's a joke, which he's probably right. So what does he do? He reinvests everything. He's not paying debt off. He's accumulating debt. But Apple has debt, Google has debt, Facebook has debt, and they have cash reserves that are the biggest cash reserves on planet Earth. They could pay cash for everything, but they don't.
Why do they get debt when they have all the cash?
Exactly.
Why do they do that?
Because if I take, man, you got a little whiteboard right here, man. So like not everybody.
You don't want inflation if you have cash.
If you have cash, you definitely don't want inflation.
Interesting.
Okay? Because it's going down in value, even though the bank might pay you more. Now, what we got right now, what's going on right now is a really freaking weird deal because the banks aren't paying you anymore and it's going down in value. So the dollar's going down and they're not paying you anything at the bank. So you're just getting double whammoed with no chance.
Why is it important for people to be investing in real estate now? Like if you could do it now, and should they do it on their own in terms of like, okay, I'm going to buy my own apartment building or my own house and do kind of the Airbnb thing? What about that strategy?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good. But you just went from having a job to a second job. So that would be the third piece of advice: is start investing in real assets. And if you look at those three criteria, Bitcoin doesn't cover it. Stocks probably don't cover it. Gambling doesn't.
Right.
That one, gold doesn't. Silver doesn't. Real estate.
NFTs don't. Yeah.
NFTs don't because they don't cash flow. That's why when you invested in NFTs and you're like, okay, they're cool. You're crossing your fingers hoping, but you don't see a check. With the real estate, I'm sending you a check every month. You're like, okay, I just got another check.